Is it done? Good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, Gamer K. Spring is finally here, and boy, is it hitting really hard with sun, no clouds, and for someone who doesn't like the heat, it's not fun. Especially since most of my shirts are black, so not really fun. But now it's time to start off the week. Well, not start off the week because it's the middle of the week and it's most likely going to be the end of the week by this time this video's. But I digress. I still need to finally watch Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury. And that sad news comes to me because I know that they're no longer adapting the Sentais into Power Rangers anymore, which is very saddening. Power Rangers has been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember, and I took the time many years ago to watch all the series that I missed, Lightspeed Rescue being one of my very first, and every single one afterwards. I watched Super Mega Force and Mega Force and Ninja Steel once each, and I will never watch those again. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm not an idiot. So now, I don't care if they're no longer adapting. I am still going to voice my opinions on how the other Sentais could have been done into Power Rangers with great flair, and I'm going back to the roots. Way before Disney started getting it, where a lot of it felt a bit childish, but I'm really happy Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury got a little bit more not being super Saturday morning cartoony and morally with every episode. I'm kind of glad that. But I want to go back to where it was fun, but it was also handled smartly. Like a majority of the Disney, pretty much all the Disney era, except for Operation Overdrive, that one was very bland. But keep the mature tones as well. Like, what they've done in a lot of Power Rangers is go somewhat dark and have the comedy and the drama and make it feel right. Like Time Force, Wild Force, Lightspeed Rescue, In Space, to the comical ones that still had a lot of great development, like Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD! I mean, an entire cop show. And I already voiced my opinions on Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger. I'm mad that didn't get rebooted, but to be honest, I know for a fact they might have botched it up. But this time, we are going to start a festival with Avataro Sentai Donbrothers for Power Ranger ideas. And this one, oh boy, it took a lot of not research, but a lot of idea building. And normally, from watching the Sentai, I can kind of see how they could get into Power Rangers. Because I've been watching Juden Sentai Kira Ranger, I can't remember, it's been a long time, and how it was with Dino Charge. I see where they changed some stuff. I see why it kind of worked and why I loved it. So now going on to this one, Donbrothers was supposed to be the final Super Sentai. Seriously, after reading that, I got scared that my fix for Sentais was gonna die. And I'd have to rewatch them all again. Well, okay, rewatch them by Kyuranger, Tokyuger. I skipped the Ninja Steel one. And all the ones I mentioned. I was worried I was gonna have to rewatch them until my fix was good, or keep watching Kamen Rider. But no, thankfully, shoot, what was it? King Oger, thank you, King Oger. I just finished it. I just finished King Oger, and Boom Ranger is out now, so I can't wait to catch up, to start watching that, get a new fix. But Donbrothers is where we're talking about now, and to be honest, I liked it fine, but it suffered the same problem that Kiramanger and Zenkaiger kind of had. It was like they were doing all these episodes where it was kind of great, and there was a lot of conflict in between, like, the characters. And near the end, they finally figured out Black's identity, and he joined the team. Seriously, it took too long. Way too freaking long. And with constant different villains, like the Bestials and the three who don't act like human, but they are kind of human-esque, and then the monsters that humans turn into because their greed goes overboard, and all the monsters are based on all previous Sentais. I love that idea. I'm gonna figure out how to incorporate that a little bit. I mean, the gears where they use the powers of the previous Sentais. Wait, did they do that here? In the first little bit they did, but then they cut it completely. So I'm cutting it fully. And then 3 more villains came out to replace the 3 because they started getting more incorporated into humans and they weren't allowed to. And then 2 more came in the end, destroyed the last 3, and there was no real big battle. There was no real big threat to the world. And it kind of dragged. It dragged on, and it was like at the last 4 episodes, they're like, oh, we need to end this somehow. It was the same curse that Kiramanger and... No, wait, not Kiramanger. No, Ryu Soldier and Zenkaiger. Kiramanger did a great final ending. But it was the same thing. It was like they got to the end, and they're like, oh, we have to end this somehow, so let's just do a quick battle fight. Donbrothers did the exact same thing, but at least I loved the characters of Donbrothers. I loved this theme. I loved the look of each character. And I liked how, except for red and yellow, the entirety of and gold and silver, and the other 3 Rangers were different suits, and 2 of them were CGI. And we got our very first Pink Ranger, who's a dude, and I love it. That's fantastic. I love it. So how can I turn this absolute mishmash of a Sentai and possibly create it with a modern twist for a Power Rangers season? I've dragged on about this for 9 minutes now, so thank you for bearing with me with my madness. It's very simple. Donbrothers, I had the theme that I wanted to go by because it did feel like the characters were transforming into something completely different. And plus with the alternate world where the monsters grow giant, felt like something digital. I had it. I had the idea right away, but coming up with a name was a little bit harder because Power Ranger names have been either Force or Fury for the last couple seasons. So, taking the Donbrothers name, I created Power Rangers Data Busters. And I took a lot of inspiration from other TV shows that somewhat had this exact same theme. I took reference from... Where is it? And I took a lot of inspiration from a bunch of other shows that kind of did the exact same theme. Because, again, I need a little inspiration of how things can work. So I took examples from shows like Code Lyoko, Zix Levels 1 through 3 for all my Canadians out there who watch that show. Aaron Stone, which was another Disney Channel XD superhero video game show, which was fantastic. Also had Shay Mitchell in a cheerleading outfit, and who can be mad at that? No one. And I also took a little inspiration from the show, the anime, Dot Hack Sign, which was one of my first mature anime when I was growing up. I know it's not that popular anymore, but it's still kind of a classic. So going over the whole theme of Data Busters, I see it as in not a big futuristic city. A great video game has been out for a good number of years. And said video game is very popular, but it's not like crazy. Like, it's not one of those things where the people are trapped in the video game, because a lot of shows have done that premise, and a lot of movies, Ready Player One and Spy Kids 3D, Game Over. So I wanted to skew away from that. So basically, the game is very popular, and one of the creators of the game, a programmer of the game, who was kind of involved with something that he shouldn't have, which was, being a little bit crazy and implementing a bunch of things in the game where if you feel pain in the game, you will feel pain in real life. I mean, it's not a VR game. It's somewhat like SAO a little bit I'm going into, but you're not trapped in the game. So basically the game was through the controller was inflicting pain to the people playing it whenever they took a lot of damage. So yeah, he was basically fired. And because Donbrothers doesn't have a very significant villain, obviously we needed an idea to implement an original villain, much like Power Rangers has done in a lot of recent years with characters such as Rancic, Lothor, Mesogog, Grum, Sledge. So, yeah, implementing an original villain would actually work. And because we have done, technically one virus villain, because Evox and Beast Morphers was Vengex. So technically the same villain, but a different series. And I still loved it. So if we could get no aliens. We're not dealing with aliens, because we've had to do that for about 4 seasons now, excluding Beast Morphers. But at the same time, again, no aliens. So what if he actually created a cybernetic virus that became sentient, because that's what happens in Power Rangers. I don't know how it gets the sentience, but it just does, and becomes this diabolical creature that wants to rule the world, basically. Why break something that isn't broken? So with the help of the programmer, obviously the programmer isn't going to be that villain character that is forced to work for the main threat. He is working with him because he wants to get revenge on the company who fired him, and because he's a bit of a nutcase. So why not? In short, let me see something. Hang on. I didn't think of this before, and I should have. Donbrothers. Man, I should have thought of this before. Let me see. The Anonin. Yeah. Basically, these guys, the first thing the virus creates is the foot soldiers that are amazing, that are basic designs, but I don't like how they were used in Donbrothers, being regular people who were devoured by these things. I don't like it. It's kind of meh. And the tone of Donbrothers goes all over the place, which, oh my god, I forgot the bestials in this. Once again, I forgot something that I'm gonna have to add in. I can think of it on the fly. So the foot soldiers would be created, and as certain players are playing the game, the foot soldiers can go into the game and basically defeat a character, and the character's deleted. So then they would have to which is kind of a bad thing for gamers if your character is deleted, not just game over, but deleted. So the creatures, the foot soldiers, can go into the game and also be in the real world in order to cause panic. Because obviously, why just take over the digital world when the real world is ripe for the taking as well? Which is where I say the cybernetic villain could be just a voice for now, until it's revealed that the data that is collected by the foot soldiers from deleting players and everything else in the game feeds into the virus so it can obtain an ultimate form in an actual human body. I'm taking inspiration from Vengex, Evox, whichever, and implementing it in a different creative way. Because instead of building it the perfect body and it needing a robot host, it's absorbing data from the game itself, from deleted players, in order to increase its own strength. And I like that. I like this idea. I like how I'm taking inspiration from a majority of other sources and implementing them in fun ways. Now, the creator of the game is a big point in this game because he's the one who the evil programmer wants to get revenge on. So I say, for the creator, who is basically the guinea pig grandmaster in Ninja Storm, who gets taken and the Rangers are left to their own devices with a little help from another programmer who worked well with the main boss. So he gets kidnapped, and that jail scene that they do in Donbrothers for Momotaro's father, we can 100% implement that. So the creator will have to see all that he created is being destroyed by the virus and by his ex-employee. Again, I don't mind that. These ideas are coming right out of the box half the time. I don't really what I write down is pretty cliff notey notes. And for our Rangers, it's basically a little bit of the somewhat comical side, but at the same time, I just needed some ideas, so I started scouring all the old characters, so I don't take too many ideas from other Power Rangers and give us the same character tropes that we all kind of know. Ninja Steel. Oh, Mega Force. Sorry, cough. For the Red Ranger, I see him as, okay, because we're going a video game theme, there are a couple video game tropes that I'm going to be doing, but in different ways. So, you know how they always get an actor or a model to pose as one of the main characters of the game at either expos or for promotional work? What if we get the game's main focus character? And it turns out he's not that much of a gamer, but in turn, he's an aspiring actor. Yes, I'm going with this idea because I don't think it's been done. And as he's not going to be that dim-witted model / actor. Basically, he's just a guy who's paying his dues and he wants to do something better with his life. And he's always wanted to be an actor, so why not? I mean, he acts like the main character all the time, so why not? And then the whole crisis with the creature, with the... what could the foot soldiers be? Glitches. Yes, calling them glitches, which is, I think that's great. I mean, they are technically viruses that cause your game to glitch whenever you're deleted. It's perfect. So when the glitches attack a big expo, when they release new updates for the game, which will include a whole bunch of new stuff, but the event is jumped by the glitches, and the evil programmer reveals himself saying he's going to get revenge on his old boss. So the glitches obviously kind of attack him and cause a whole scene. But here's the thing. In a flashback episode, we'll find out that the creator of the game knew what the programmer was like. He knew he was going to be doing something because he was, disgruntled, and he was kind of working on something that is obviously malicious. So he had to have a backup. And after knowing about the Power Rangers, because, if you don't know anything about Power Rangers, in your Power Rangers universe, you're even stupider than the woman in Lightspeed Rescue. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So he created a good number of items, and he hid them throughout the game that could not be... No, wait, hiding them in the game is... No, actually, he created the blasters, which are the morphers as well. But he created special abilities and characters that obviously aren't in the game in order to fight off whatever the mad programmer would have come up with, aka the Power Ranger abilities. And obviously he didn't get a chance to give them out yet, so he entrusted them to either his secretary or his assistant, who also knew of the plot and was helping him. So kind of a Tommy Oliver Haley situation, except obviously without it being cliche. But as the assistant is trying to use one of the blasters, it gets knocked out of his hand, and the actor sees it and wants to save the day, and he kind of plays off this hero aspect of him. So he grabs the gun, uses it, and it shoots. And that's going to be a single... I've taken a lot of inspiration of why certain people would have to join forth. And one of them being exactly like RPM and exactly like Time Force. The blaster is just like an avatar. Because Avataro Sentai. The minute you use the gun... and you use the data disc, because we're not going to use the gear thing because it's weird. So the data disc, place it into the gun. You got to give it a good spin. And then once you transform, the gun and the data disc have imprinted on the user's genetic code, ensuring that no one else could become the Data Busters Power Rangers. A security measure just in case the evil mastermind tries to steal them and use the abilities themselves. As a precaution, not just obviously, well, why can't anyone be a ranger? This way it works, and it works within the center of the world, because only one person can really use one person's avatar in a video game. So it works, and it fits with the theme. And after the boss is kidnapped and put in that cybernetic jail to watch all he creates be destroyed, the assistant and the actor, but now the Red Ranger, are basically told that they need to find a team in order to take on all the monsters. And that's where the first 5 episodes of the show will take place. Because I really love it when the story counts for them finding the characters and bringing them into the fold instead of random people just spontaneously meeting each other. Because that's been done too many times. Way too many times. So having to actually find them, just like Dino Fury did. I mean, it was the first 4 episodes until Izzy and Ravi got into the mix. And I love it. I love the little bit of time where it was just the first 3. For Yellow, the only girl in the group, once again, so obviously they need to find good rangers. So what better way to look for someone who can hold their own against these digital monsters than in the game server? So the assistant, obviously in the hidden base lair, uses his access code to check out the rankings of the online players. Obviously, with the glitches deleting players, a good amount of characters would have to know how to defeat the glitches. Because again, once they're in the game, they are able to be defeated by regular players as long as they've got enough skill. And I had to do this one because of the Rangers motif. They check out the top ranked player, and it is a character by the screen name Oni Kid. Oni obviously referring to a demon because Yellow is Oni sister. So they issue a video game challenge, because in this game you can challenge other players to combat and you get experience points and you get a bit of extra bonuses like quest items and all that. I mean, yeah, it's going to go over the people's heads because it's a game stuff, but I think it works for the game. And Oni Kid, wanting a new challenge after defeating a number of glitches, takes on the challenge. But once again, Red is completely incompetent with video games. So the only thing they're doing is tracking the player's IP address of where they're playing from so that they can go there and request a meeting. After obviously getting his butt handed to him in the game, Red goes to where the address was, and obviously there's a bunch of people, so he doesn't really know who it is until he just bumps into a random person, assumes they're Oni Kid, and asks for tries to get them to help. Obviously, the person thinks he's crazy and runs away, so he goes chase after him. And after hearing the name Oni Kid, a young girl pops up her head, like teenager, and only until the first monster is released. Now, I know I'm bouncing back and forth between this stuff, but bear with me. It's not the first time I've done this for these videos. So obviously after the first monster appears and the Oni Kid participant runs away in fear, and after Red morphs, Oni Kid reveals herself to be a teenager who's a big gamer, and with just a baseball bat, starts whooping the monster's butt. I mean, obviously it's not doing any major damage because, again, it's a digital creature and you need the blasters in order to fully deal them. You need the ranger powers. But he recognizes it, but she does a move that she specifically does all the time in the video game. And he remembers it from during the battle. And it turns out she's not just a video gamer, she's a big parkour expert. So a lot of the moves she does, because you can implement certain moves into the game, it's one of those games where you can implement your own combat moves and all that. So after noticing that, he realizes that she's Oni Kid and calls her out, throws her the blaster, and explains how to use it. She does it, and she transforms. After that, she's brought to the base, heavily explained everything, and she's game. This isn't going to be one of those seasons where every character has their own personal motivations for joining. Either it's to save the world, to be a hero, or to just... And then obviously once the team is gathered, they're obviously going to have certain episodes where they each get on each other's nerves in one way or another. So they got to try to find common ground and work together. Yes, it's a big fucking cliche, and I don't care. I love these cliches. Going for Blue, who is an ape kind of character. No, seriously, the suit is completely ape, complete with buttocks. They're going to have to censor that. So for the big, strong brute, how about a sweet-hearted country guy? No, seriously, I'm 100% serious. For a majority of seasons, the Blue Ranger, for some reason, immediately spells Brainiac. Because we've had Billy, we've had Ethan. We've had... pretty much everyone since after Samurai and everything. The Blue has been the geek. Every single time, mostly. And it's a tired trope. So I say he's a country kid who, again, isn't that much of a video game guy, but working on his parents' farm and moving to the big city for something different. And yeah, he wants something different. So obviously that's going to be a big thing in future episodes. Where after seeing some civilians are getting attacked by glitches, he just goes in after them and starts brawling. Obviously, he gets defeated. And as he's about to be deleted, yeah, because the glitches can delete real-life people. It's not the same thing as them being killed. It's more like them being... sent to the cyber jail where their energy will be siphoned for the villain? Something like that. Or they'll just be attacked, whichever. But after seeing the two Rangers fighting, he wants to join. No real big reason, he just wants to join. So, but they're not sure because again, they have to be very specific of who they choose or else it could come back to bite them in the behind. So again, he proves himself, transforms, and becomes the gorilla of the group. Black had the best story in the entirety of Donbrothers, but it got the lamest reasons for why he wasn't in the group until near the end, which sucked. So for Black, I see him being like another teenager, kind of a punk kid, obviously. Like, somewhat gothic, but not overly gothic. I think of maybe a character like, from a game I love, Duel Masters Cobalt, Flynn, who is the darkness user, and even though he is the gothic character teenager, he's still not an evil character. He's an actual fun character to use. He's snarky, he's witty. Maybe he could be the nerd of the group and be like a hacker kind of. Oh, no, wait. We've done hacker a good number of times, so. Seriously, let's give this a chance. And, okay, here's the thing for Black, though. Having the punk guy who... Seriously, I don't know why they would become the Rangers or anything. It's just... I don't have that much good writing for this. But again, fights the Rangers because they think he's evil because of how he looks. But then one of the Rangers spots him because obviously when they're in their civilian form, they find him and finds out that he's actually a nice guy. So, they judged him too harshly and they should give him a chance. And then another monster appears, attacks where the Black Ranger volunteers, so that pushes him over the edge. And that's what makes him transform into this. A pint-sized doggo with a ninja star. It's gonna be funny if they ever did this and seeing the reactions when he first morphs. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be ridiculous. All right, Pink. Yes, Pink was a dude in Donbrothers. He was this for some. I don't know why, but for Donbrothers, all 4 Rangers had something terrible happen to them before when they were chosen to be the Donbrothers. Yellow was a high schooler who won an award for her manga, but then it was decreed that she plagiarized one and she was shamed. Black is always on the run from the law, and his girlfriend was taken by the bestial monsters. Blue actually didn't really have anything terrible happen to him. And Pink found a girl he loved, married her, but it was the bestial form of Black's girlfriend. If that makes any sense to you, then you watch the show, and if you didn't, yes, it's that ridiculous. But for Pink this time, still keeping it a male character would really, really work. And he was actually one of the only adult among the group. So going away from that would be the best idea. I say, yeah, I know I said no hacker, but what if going forward with the group, they need one more? They need someone they can really trust. So the secretary brings in someone who knows the game, who knows what to do, and can be a big asset. Basically, Pink would be the nerdy character, but not overly, not cartoony nerdy. He would be the security developer who created the software and the security measures for the entire game, giving them the advantage of how they can infiltrate the villain's base or try to find them within time. So he's given it. He transforms for his first battle, and he turns into a long-legged crane character. I am not joking. This is what the Ranger form looks like. Is it ridiculous? Yes. Is it absolutely funny? Yes. Does it work? Yes. Would this character be good at combat? Absolutely fucking not. He would basically be the programmer who was he was one of the 2 programmers who was given the high job of security, while the other one was creating the monsters and creating the bosses, who is the villain of the show. So again, making him a Ranger would have a big rivalry between him and the programmer along the way of the series, which would be great. And now we have Gold and Silver, who is one character, and I love that addition. And I came up with the perfect way of how he could become the Ranger, the Silver Gold Ranger, which are based on 2 great animals. Gold is a dragon, while Silver is a tiger. And it kind of contrasts to a lot of things that they do. For example, Tommy first being a Dragon Ranger, and then being a Dragon Ranger, and then being the tiger. Yeah, that's pretty fun. So, for the 6th Ranger, I say, okay, video game tropes. We've got the model for the game who basically doesn't play video games, the top-ranked player who is a little bit of a snarky smartass. We got the Blue Ranger who doesn't do video games but is a lovable sweetheart country boy who showcases his strength. We got the Black punk kid who has a heart of gold, and we got the Pink programmer who created the security measures. And what is one of the biggest video game tropes in anything? Here's a little information. Yes, a beta tester. Seriously, if I put up his picture and you don't get a beta tester, Or you just get a big idiot who rizzes every girl he meets and is suddenly a master programmer himself. Seriously, this character is the literal definition of overpower. I'm just making a point. So Gold and Silver could be one of the few beta testers in the game. And here's another secret thing. During the game's testing, what if the creator wanted to implement a very big security just in case the evil programmer did decide to act? And he needed a stronger weapon in order to defeat whatever he had to do. Because what if the data morphers, which is what the guns are called, weren't strong enough to take on another monster? So it's obviously that overpowered Power Ranger. So again, where could he hide it where no one would find it? Inside the game itself as data. But being a beta tester, obviously you're supposed to check out the game to see if there's bugs in every area. So what if this beta tester found a very secret area that not a lot of the other testers went to? Because obviously, like, they tested the boss fights, they tested the graphics, they tested the gameplay, and it was all fine. But this player wanted to explore more to see if every bit of the game was, well, obviously safe. And then he finds this bit of data that was hidden very, very well after the player did a puzzle that is not in the full game. This was only done in the beta testing so that the creator of the game could find if there was someone who was smart enough to find this power so that he could implement it later. And after he found it, the code streamed into the character's code and then went right back into the character's CPU, where it stayed there for a while. And obviously he was wondering what it was. Maybe it was a bonus content, maybe it was a prize, but he can't access it. Only until all 5 of the data morphers have been unlocked. Then all that data on the guy's CPU would start to unlock and go out into the real world and change his controller into the spear morpher. Yes, it's a spear. And it also turns into an axe. So one day he realizes this and sees his controller that's morphed into this weapon, and it comes with the 2 data discs for silver and gold. And he sees on the news about the Power Rangers, so he kind of immediately knows what it's for, and he decides to make his debut. And this is the fun part. He can transform into either form. So he decides to be a hero first and use the dragon form, where he uses the spear mode. Defeats the monsters, defeats the glitches, and the Rangers are surprised. They want to know who he is, but he's not going to. And then the villain finds him and convinces him that he should be the one he's the one who found this power. He's the one who found it in the game. And these guys are the heroes. So the villain is manipulating his sense of being the best. So he uses the axe form and uses the tiger disc in order to transform into the silver mode, which uses the axe, and becomes a villain to the Power Rangers. Somewhat thinking it's part of the game and that he's going to be the best. But then it's one of those scenarios where after he beats up the 4 and it's just him and Red, their conflict causes the area a building to be unsafe. So Red notices there are people there, so he runs past the 6th Ranger to save the people, and he realizes this isn't a game anymore. There's consequences to what they've been doing. So then he decides to help Red save them. The monster appears and they fight, and then they join forces. And that's all 6 Rangers. My God, it was a long idea, but I had to get my ideas out there. And now we go into the monsters, which are all based on previous Sentais. Like, it's the monster motif, like with with dinosaurs, with wizards, with space, with every single Sentai that was previously done. And each of these all of them could be used. The programmer could be going into the game, and obviously using the monsters in the games isn't going to be enough because those monsters have weaknesses. So what if he uses the virus that he created, the main villain, implement its own twisted code and takes a monster type, because all the monster types will be Sentais from previous Sentais, so that they would turn into the monsters that would correlate to a type of monster, like a space monster, a dinosaur, an animal monster, a pirate monster, a thief, a police, a car monster, a train. That way, all the Sentais can be used, and each monster feels unique, and they all have that kind of boss aspect of a monster. I think that would be really cool. And we haven't done this in so long of how the monsters grow. Ever since Beast Morphers, we haven't gotten a great Make My Monster Grow segment. I miss them. And obviously, because this is a video game, what if they send a downloaded power-up that makes the monsters grow after defeat? Yeah. And then we get to my least favorite part of the series. It kind of has somewhat of an impact on the story, but it was kind of lame. The Bestials, which are these animalistic monsters. I mean, I'm not going to do different factions of monsters in this. Like, I'm not doing Operation Overdrive here. The Beast monsters could be in a couple episodes where certain, like, after the glitches prove to be not so powerful, they create these animalistic monsters in order to fight the Rangers that are increased in power. And this is when the Rangers get their power-up modes are basically they're basically how they become the Megazord and all that. So not having the Megazord for a good number of episodes is not such a good idea. No, that's a better idea. They can unlock the Megazord abilities, but their own power-up abilities while they're in their Ranger form would be the way to defeat the Beast. They have to unlock their special modes where they can use them outside of using the Megazord. Which is honestly, they look really, really cool. And so that's how they get them after using the Beast monsters. And then we get the characters who are basically the characters who are defeating the monsters that are turned by their own greed into the monsters in the Sentai. We've got blue, we've got white, we've got brown, we got crimson, purple, and gray. I know exactly what we can do for these. For the first 3, after the Rangers have defeated a good number of monsters, the virus decides that they need to create their own players in this game. And what I love about this is that they'll actually be humans and not just suits of armor. Blue, being the leader, could be maybe the second best player, and in contrast with how yellow is the first ranked player. White would be Black's girlfriend, but they don't know that that he's the Ranger or she's the villain. That way it creates great drama throughout their relationship. I mean, obviously they're not turned evil. They're still who they are, but they still feel, I mean, maybe it's like with the white evil ranger from Dino Thunder. He's still him, but it just takes over whenever it's necessary. And for morphers, they can be their bracelets or their armbands. They use them and they transform into the armor. Brown could be a street thug who enjoys the violence and enjoys doing what he wants, and that would be in perfect contrast with Brown's characteristics of being a brute. For Crimson, Purple, and Gray, they could be after a good number of episodes and the original three start to become less evil and they start to wane down, Crimson, Purple, and Gray would be like the end game generals, where they basically, because you realizing that using humans was kind of a backfire, he just creates digital copies of them, but they're completely subordinate. They're completely subservient to him. They're completely evil. In order to contrast again without using other humans. And they're a lot stronger. So that's when Red gets the Golden Phoenix booster and becomes his ultimate mode. And there's one more character that was really good, but was kind of downgraded as the series went on, which was the purple one, a purple ninja named Mirasame, which had a shark theme, as the blade would go throughout the ground like a shark fin, and the sword would spin, and then the character would appear out of nowhere. Perfect idea for this. A corrupted security program that was created by the creator and infected with the virus, and it gained a little bit of sentient and becoming another anti-villain hero that went into the real world as the Blade, but becomes the ninja as a security program. And while it's in the real world, it can sense the glitches, it can sense the monsters, and it deems them a threat. But whenever it would attack a human, it indicates that it is not a player. But when the Rangers come out and the armored soldiers for the virus villain, it would attack them because it senses them as players. Because using the data discs and becoming the avatar, technically you're in the game by doing so. So he would fight them until they find a way to give him an antivirus where he doesn't join the team, but he still doesn't attack them later on in the series. Okay, I got the Rangers backstory, I got the theme of the show, the villains, the monsters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, that's all my ideas for Power Rangers Data Busters based on Avataro Sentai Donbrothers. What do you guys think of these ideas? Am I going a little bit overboard? Did I kind of hit the mark? Is everything I said completely insane? Yes, it is. But at the same time, I love voicing my opinions about these ideas for Power Rangers that could have worked. And I would 100% love this if it was actually made into the series. But looks like we won't be getting that ever again, unless they come to their senses and they go back and do all the Sentais that weren't done. And I mean the ones that were done in good number of years and not the old ones. I still look forward to that day. I still have a glimmer of hope. And until we hear more from Power Rangers, I need to catch up on it. So thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Join me next week where I'm not done with ideas. My first video was my ideas. This one was my ideas, and next one will be predictions, not so much my ideas. So join me next week as we hoist the sails and we head off into the grand line in preparation for one of the most surprising things that Netflix has released. This is Gamer K, logging out.